Alrighty, so news of the week episode on this Wednesday night, and if you thought that we weren't going to get a lot of news heading into MLS Cup this Saturday, think again because there were definitely a lot of news that has happened in the past week. But unfortunately, we got to talk about the news that I'm pretty sure everybody have heard about, and this is just such a devastating blow, not only for the LA Galaxy, but really just in terms of this MLS Cup as well as one of the start for this MLS Cup and certainly the start for this Galaxy attack. Riqui Puig will not be available in this game. In fact, he's not going to be even available for majority of next season, as well as it was determined that he suffered a torn ACL and that, yeah, he actually suffered this torn ACL around the 63rd minute mark. And remember how in the last game I talked about how both Rusnak and Pooch basically kind of collide with each other. And while they said that Rusnak was okay, and it was kind of crazy to see that Rusnak was actually the one that suffered more in terms of that injury. It looked like he was more down than Riqui Puig. That looked like he was still keep going. We didn't know that he was actually playing with a torn ACL for the last 30 minutes of this game. I mean, obviously in a moment like this, and this kind of just shows you how in these big moments like this, especially in the playoffs, players are gonna play through pain. Players are gonna play through any pain possible, and in this case, I mean, it is hard to believe that he played through a torn ACL in the last 30 minutes, especially setting up the game-winning assist to Dejan Jovic. That is just some incredible heroism that Riqui Puig have shown, and that again, just another example of a player that he's not gonna stop even in a big moment like this. But unfortunately, it's gonna come in a big cause, and yeah, again, he's gonna be out for MLS Cup and for majority of the next season. And while I know the Galaxy still have some really big weapons out there on the attacking end, losing Riqui Puig is definitely going to be a devastating blow because he does a lot when it comes to the playmaking department, and they definitely are crippled a little bit because of that. But as I mentioned, it's also a big blow in terms of just the general game itself because he's definitely one of the bigger name, if not the biggest name, coming out of this MLS Cup, and he's not even going to be playing in this game as a result of the torn ACL. And yeah, certainly I wish him a speedy recovery, but also just very sad to see that happen, especially in the last game. Now, moving on into next news. So we got some coaching news as well as John Herman has stepped down as the head coach of Toronto FC. Now, this is not a big surprise because with the ongoing scandal that is going on with the Canadian Soccer Association, especially with the whole Spygate and the whole drone gate situation, and John Herman, of course, we're kind of in the center of it. Yeah, you kind of had a feeling that if they actually did find out in a big way, and in some way they kind of already did. It seemed like John Hartman might have to force to resign as a result of that, and indeed that of course is the case. But yeah, again, this is not just once again a major setback for this TFC team in terms of this deep rebuild that they had, but it's almost like they're starting from square one all over again. I mean, they were really hoping that he is the guy that leads them into the right step. And I don't know if I did a moving forward series yet about Toronto FC, but I'll definitely talk about how this is now once again a major sure setback to the progress that they kind of shown this season. I mean, I know it was a very frustrating season if you ask any Toronto FC fan, but there was progress that was shown, especially those two Italians. There were times that they of course show some fight in them, even though there's times where they also did some really stupid thing, and especially in Bernadeschi's situation, his ill discipline kind of cost this team many times with so many sending off this year. And there's still that debate of whether or not they are going to keep those two Italians heading into next season. Remember, both of those guys are going to be under contract until 2026. But just John Herman, I feel like he was the right man to lead this rebuild. But again, because of him in the center of that scandal that the Canadian Soccer Association is in, TFC, almost feel like, yeah, they almost, I wouldn't say they forced John Herman to step down, but they basically say, yeah, you better step down now to save face. Otherwise, this could get ugly, and TFC might have to just kind of force John Herman or fire John Herman because of this situation. And again, just very unfortunate. And again, this is not really the Toronto FC fault. They didn't know about the situation when they hired John Herman in this in the first place. But again, it's just a major setback in terms of this deep rebuild and this deep cleanup that they unfortunately put themselves because of all the bad decisions that they made post those great success season that ended in 2020. Now, the Philadelphia Union, their report to name German manager Thomas, and I think this Lich, is that you pronounce it, as their new head coach. Now, he is a guy that has been spending most of his time coaching in Germany. I believe he's currently the head coach and the manager for VfL Bochum, though that being said, that team is currently dead last in the Bundesliga and look like that team could be relegated again. So I'm not sure getting a guy that seems like is struggling not only in the Bundesliga but most likely he is going to get that team relegated is a good choice to replace the likes of Jim Kern. I mean, whoever is the next Union head coach, they got some big shoes to fill. I mean, what Jim Kern has done to this Union team is just incredible. And again, it's kind of stunning the fact that they decided to let him go, despite the fact that I'm pretty sure if you ask any Union fans, Jim Kern is the least of their worry of the disastrous season that they had last year. But overall, in terms of the situation that the Union find themselves in, I mean, they still have some good pieces that can, of course, get them to still be a playoff contender, and they still have some good youth in their academy as always. But losing Jim Curtin, that losing a one of the better head coach in the league that can really guide the team to success. Again, and get hiring a guy that that has no experience in MLS whatsoever. You always kind of take a bit of a risk when you decide to hire a former or a foreign manager that has no MLS experience. It could work out well. We have seen that worked out before, but it also can backfire in a big time. So we'll see whether or not if this, of course, will work out for the Union. Now, moving on in terms of some of the signings, starting with FC Cincinnati, they have officially acquired Lucas Oriano on a permanent transfer from Vasco da Gama. Not surprising. I mean, Oriano has done an amazing job this season for Cincinnati to a point where I don't think Cincinnati fans have even missed Alvaro Barrio, and it's almost like you could even say Oriano might be an upgrade to what Barrio now is, and that's saying something because Barrio was very important to the Cincinnati team. But it's hard to believe that not only they found a like to like replacement, but equally maybe even a better replacement, and he's going to be a huge piece for the Cincinnati team for a while, especially in that wing back role. And in St. Louis City, they have signed German center back Timo Bargardo from Schalke. So this kind of continue the theme of St. Louis City, trying to continue that German theme. They seems like they love to sign a lot of German player. I mean, we saw in the transfer window, they of course signed Marcel Hardo and Cedric Teuscher from the Bundesliga. And while this is not a Bundesliga signing, this is actually from the second Bundesliga. It's hard to believe Schalke is now in the second tier. Consider they're considered to be one of the massive club in Germany and have took a huge fall from grace. But we'll see whether or not if this signing, of course, will work out. I mean, I haven't heard a lot of thing about him. Obviously, St. Louis desperately need some defensive help, and hopefully with them going with that Bundesliga kind of route. And this is not surprising, consider their sporting director does have a history in terms of that league itself. But yeah, again, how we talk about Inter Miami becoming like a Barcelona team, and even LAFC kind of decided to recreate the French national team by sending a lot of French player. It seems like St. Louis is definitely in the spirit of being kind of like the German team in MLS, signing all these German players in their squad. Now, speaking of center back, New England also signed a new center back this week. They signed Mali international center back Mamadou Fofana from Amiens. Now, from what I heard, it seems like a lot of the Amiens fans they really like this guy, and he's done a really good job with their club. So this could of course work out. And keep in mind, when it comes to player coming to league, especially defenders, that comes to MLS, most of them tends to have some good success, and hopefully that will be the case for him, and especially for New England, who desperately need some defensive help. And speaking of New England, it seems like there seems like they're going to go for a bit of a fire sale in terms of some of these players that is part of the Bruce Arena regime, because it seems like the San Jose Earthquakes are now looking to sign a couple of Bruce Arena guys from New England. They're looking to sign Mark Anthony Kay, Dave Romney, and Ian Harkes for 500,000 general allocation money and international spot. Now, to be fair, the price is definitely reasonable. I mean, those three guys, Mark Anthony Kay, it's been a big fall from grace compared to his day with LAFC. I mean, I remember how good he was with LAFC and even with the Rapids as well for a bit. But ever since he joined Toronto and then joining New England, his career has kind of turned for its worst. Dave Romney is still serviceable player, but definitely not as good as he was during his time with Nashville compared to when he was with New England. And Ian Harkes is more of a utility player as well. So again, and I think this is also kind of an example to show that we've seen this before, where sometimes a head coach that are joining a new MLS team, they're going to bring some of their former players, especially some of the guys that he previously coached with another MLS team, to bring them along. So something tells me maybe this year we might be looking for Carlos coming to New England, or actually not New England, I'm sorry, but to the Quakes as well. Carlos is already with New England. Obviously, I don't think that's gonna happen, but that would be just incredible to see if Bruce Arena is actually gonna get even more guys from New England built built into this team for the Quakes. And I don't mind that, because when Bruce Arena brought all these guys from the or when he was coaching these guys with the Rams, they were relatively successful, and I'm just hoping that might be the case. Again, I know there's been a lot of people talk about how, it doesn't really matter which coach is there. It seems like the Quakes are always going to fail because of the who owner is currently owning this team. But I'm just hoping that maybe this might be if different, and that again, Bruce Arena is a legendary head coach. He's definitely trying to to um, trying to move past of the unknown scandal that to this day we still don't know what's going on, and just kind of almost have a fresh start, and we'll see whether or not if he can do so. You know how ironic it would be if he actually win an MLS Cup with the Quakes after all that the his time doing some good things for the Galaxy as well. I mean, that would be such an ironic kind of thing. I don't think it's gonna happen, but there's no doubt he's gonna at least guide the team not anywhere close to where they were last season, which was a wooden spoon and pretty much the joke of the league last season. And then Raul Ruidiaz will indeed depart from the Seattle Sounders, as the Sounders announced that they will not renew his contract. That is not a big surprise. We knew this was going to happen. Like I've said it last season, it seems like this is going to be Ruidiaz's final year with the Sounders. And to be fair, he kind of had a relatively quiet, good season here. I mean, he did chipped in 8 goals as well. He did show some flashes of the Raul Ruidiaz that we know from the Sounders. But yeah, it's truly the end of a great era for the Sounders, and certainly of all the good things that Ruidiaz has done for this team. It's just incredible. It's hard to believe that his good start all started, I think, a couple of years when I actually went to a game between the Quakes and the Sounders, and I think Ruidiaz was making his debut in that game. I think he scored like a goal or two in that game, if I remember. That was kind of the beginning of him really becoming what earning his name in terms of one of the iconic Sounders player that had played for this team, and really joining the Mount Rushmore of great Sounders players that we've seen in the past with the legendary career that he's been having with this team. But again, as the old saying goes, all things has to come to an end, and eventually Father Time is going to catch up to a player, and yeah, Father Time is clearly catch up to Ruidiaz, and we'll see whether or not if maybe another MLS team might give him a try. Maybe we'll see a Nico Ladero situation where Ladero his legendary time with the Sounders has come to an end, and then Orlando City decide to pick him up, or maybe Ruidiaz might be heading back to his native country, Peru, and maybe finishing his career in his native country. Now, DC United, they are report to sign Brazilian winger João Praglo from the Polish league. Now, I have no idea who this guy is, and especially with the amount that they're looking to sign him, I mean, that seems like a little bit of an overpay. I think it was like somewhere like over $1 million, and for a guy that I've heard that I've only scored 1 goal in 15 appearances for a team in the Polish league that is relatively unknown. Yeah, it's we've seen before where sometimes you can find diamond in the rough before in a random league. I mean, the Polish league is not a random league. We have seen some great players that come from the Polish league that excel in MLS. But again, this one it's a little bit of an underwhelming signing. I've heard a lot of DC fans are very underwhelmed about the signing and whether this signing will actually get the help that Benteke needed for this team heading into next season. And then Charlotte FC, they are set to sign DM by Koulibaly for 2 million euros and 20% sell on fees. Now, the 2 million euros, that's a little bit of a steep price as well, especially for an 18-year-old. But it's even more steeper when it's a 20% sell on fee. And again, a guy that is relatively unknown, although he does play with the Mali international team as well. So they are thinking that he could be a good player, and especially, Charlotte is using one of their U22 initiative spot. This is kind of something that we're going to see a lot of team does, sign a lot of these young players and using one of those U22 initiative spot that will not count toward the DP spot because of the new rule that we saw last season. So yeah, we'll see whether or not this, of course, will work well, or it doesn't uh, end up working well. And yeah, Charlotte might be regretting signing that much amount, especially with the sell-on fee that is on top of it. And then moving on to news that is not related to signings and transfer rumors. So we saw a couple of big names that was elected into the National Soccer Hall of Fame. Among those big names, we saw Nick Rimando, Chris Armas, and Carly Lloyd. All of them are elected into the National Soccer Hall of Fame, and those are some big names too. I mean, Nick Rimando is going to go down arguably as the one of the greatest goalkeeper to ever play in this league. And with all the career videos that I've done, I'm gonna eventually gonna do a career video about Nick Rimando and the career that he has, especially with RSL, and definitely is going to go down as one of the greatest. If not him, alongside with Kyle Beckerman, probably the greatest player to ever play for Real Salt Lake. Chris Armas, we know about his coaching days, but we also, so people forgot about his playing career days. He was actually really good in his playing career day as well. And then Carly Lloyd, arguably one of the greatest women's players to ever play this game and play for the U.S. women's national team. Well deserved to be elected into the National Soccer Hall of Fame as well. And then Commissioner Don Gabbard will actually be the commissioner of MLS for the next 3 seasons. It seems like they have signed a contract extension that he's going to be with the league in the next couple of seasons. Now, I have heard that, there were rumors saying that maybe he wasn't going to be the commissioner anymore. Consider I heard rumors that he might be thinking about stepping down because of health issue. Keep in mind, he is actually getting up there in age to a point where maybe he's thinking about stepping down and retiring. And I know, obviously, when it comes to Don Gabbert, you can have different opinions about it. I know there's been some negative opinions about Don Gabbert at time. For the most part, I think he's done a good job in terms of not only building the growth of this league. I mean, you got to remember he was one of the pioneer uh commissioner that has really got this league going to the stage that we are right now, especially the growth and the amount of money that this league is made. It would not happen if Don Gabbert was not the commissioner of this league, and especially with the league continue to expand. I know some people have different opinion about that, but it's always great to see new teams that come to MLS, and there's no doubt that we're not going to stop at 30 team, even though I know there's no plan for who's the 31st and 32nd team, but there's no doubt that there could be a case that we could see the 31st or 32nd team and after the World Cup that's going to be here in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico in 2026, and that it just kind of continues the growth of this league. The scary thing is that once Don Gabbert does decided to retire, it's going to be interesting to see who, the next commissioner that's going to be stepping in to this role, and whether or not if he can continue this growth and continue the good things that Don Gabbert has put. Because as we know, when it comes to commissioner and in the other professional league, more times or not, sometimes when a new commissioner stepping in, they do more harm than actually good. Just look at the MLB, and in terms of what Rob Manfred is doing after stepping in for Bud Selig. I mean, Bud Selig was not a good commissioner, but Rob Manfred, I think if anyone, of course, watch baseball a lot, especially watch the MLB as I have, at myself as well. Yeah, he's not. He might be the worst commissioner right now. I mean, I also know that some people say Roger Goodell might be that, but you have not seen what Rob Manfred has done in terms of American pastime, and that's the scary thing about MLS. Of whoever is the next commissioner, is he gonna improve this league and continue the legacy of Don Gabbard, or is it going to ruin it? And kind of puts what we saw as the problem that MLS had in the beginning, and also what happened to the NASL, that is back in the 1970s and in the 80s. Now, moving on into next news. So the Leeds Cup will indeed continue into next season. So despite the fact that there was rumor that it seems like maybe it wasn't gonna continue, Ernest Tanner from the Philadelphia Union has dropped a huge bombshell that his team was not gonna participate, and everybody thinking, well, it seems like the Leeds Cup is over. Unfortunately, it is gonna be back next season. Now, I also wonder what kind of format it's gonna be heading into next season. I have a feeling it's gonna be a revised format, and I have a feeling it could be similar to what we saw with the U.S. Open Cup last year. Not every team is going to participate in the competition because again, the problem with the Leeds Cup, it feels like it's not only a bit of becoming a cash cow tournament again. Well, to be fair, it's always been a cash cow kind of tournament, but it's kind of a watered down kind of CONCACAF Champions Cup kind of thing that every team is involved. And while there were times where I did enjoy some of the Leeds Cup game, you also saw last season the big issue in terms of some of those games. There was a lot of low attendance in some of those games. Fans at times were kind of fed up in terms of actually watching this because the damage it has done, especially to a historic tournament like the U.S. Open Cup. So we'll see whether or not if they're gonna maybe revise it. But no doubt, I didn't think that this tournament was going to end, and especially after the deal that Apple TV and MLS has made, and that agreement was kind of one of the key part of why the Leagues Cup was created. There's no way they're gonna discontinue heading into next season. I think it's gonna happen next season. I don't know what's gonna happen in 2026, especially with the way that we have the World Cup happening in July, and the season pretty much it has to be forced to pause because of the World Cup. Yeah, I have no doubt that there's going to be question in terms of how the Leagues Cup is going to work in 2026, and the nightmare that is when it comes to the scheduling that we'll see in the 2026 season. And then Indianapolis is a report that they are actually close to set to build their new MLS stadium to attract an MLS team, and it seems like it's going to be happening in the downtown heliport. So we mentioned it a couple of times this year that it seems like Indy might be the next MLS team. It seems like the mayor is really pushing hard to try to build an MLS stadium, trying to attract an MLS team, and especially it seems like they also have the investor to pay the expansion fee to become the 31st MLS team. Yeah, there's no doubt. It seems like it's gonna be imminent. Even though I know we're gonna see another San Diego Loyal situation where if you don't know about the San Diego Loyal situation, that team of course was defunded big part because another group called San Diego FC kind of came in and they joined MLS instead of what we thought the San Diego Loyals was going to do. And the same goes for Indy 11 as well. But still, this seems like it's one step closer in terms of getting a 31st MLS team that is going to be announced to be in Indianapolis. Although again, there's still no word on that. I mean, I know even Commissioner Don Gabbard has mentioned about this before, but he still hasn't really made a formal announcement that it's definitely going to happen in the foreseeable future. And then when it comes to the Club World Cup, which by the way, tomorrow we're going to see the draw that is going to be happening in terms of the group. I'm probably going to make a video talking about that as well. Especially we will see the two MLS team that's going to be participating in this competition. And when it comes to the Club World Cup itself. I might do a couple of review. I won't do every single review like I usually do when it comes to the World Cup, but I'll definitely do a couple ones, especially some big matchup, and especially I'm gonna do a review every time when an MLS team is involved. That is the Sounders and Inter Miami. But tomorrow they are going to release the the group stage and reveal which team is going to be in which group. One thing we know for sure is Inter Miami and Seattle cannot be in the same group because they both are in pot number 4. And one thing we also know is that most likely they're going to be in a tough group because again, with them being in pot 4, most likely they're going to be pairing up with a team either in the UEFA region. I mean, I can't wait to see one of these MLS team facing against the likes of Real Madrid's and stuff like that. But yeah, it would be interesting to see how that, of course, would work. And I would actually thinking about going to a game if Seattle or Inter Miami decided to get a big name European team in their group, especially for the Sounders as well, because again, people still have feelings about Inter Miami being in this competition and not in a good as well, especially just as Columbus fans, that is. And as I said, it seems like we also will know who exactly is going to be streaming the Club World Cup for this upcoming year, and the rights to that is bought by Dyson. So they, of course, have acquired the global streaming rights, and they acquired for $1 billion. That is a lot of money, and they also said that they will actually stream free across its platform. I don't know if that indeed is going to be true. I've heard that DAZN, they have had not only some shady business before, with some advertisement, and even there's even rumors of them kind of stealing people's data. But no, the fact that there's even report that they said that everything is these games are going to be free, only for them to say in the last second, oh, never mind, we're going to charge people those money as well. Now it's kind of interesting that DAZN actually got the right, consider this is a streaming site that at least here in the U.S. it's more known for boxing event as well. I know the biggest soccer event that they have is the women's Champions League final, but besides that, I mean, they don't really are that big, and especially with the amount of subscriber, there's like 60 million subscriber worldwide. That's not really a lot for a worldwide kind of streaming site. So yeah, it's kind of surprised that FIFA decided to agree with that. Especially they could have easily gone with a local broadcast as well. And that it's also kind of just questionable decision on both on the FIFA part, with them decided to partner with a streaming platform that is not well known, and also DAZN part. I mean, I guess that they want to use this as an example to kind of gain subscriber, but again, they're the rights that they of course have. It's mostly kind of just boxing events and stuff like that, and you still have to pay for that as well. Again, I don't know if this is gonna really get people to subscribe to this service, if they're gonna use this as a marketing tool. And not to mention, I also don't know how the streaming quality is gonna be in terms of that zone. I mean, I was hoping Apple TV would land it because I've already have it, but also I thought Apple TV has done a really good job when it comes to these MLS games. But yeah, seems like I'm gonna have to subscribe to this. Now the good news is they said it's gonna be free, at least for now. That is, I'll at least subscribe to it, and I can just get the free version, because there's no way I'm not gonna be paying for this. I'm already paying for a lot of things, and hopefully this is not gonna be one of them. And then finally, MLS did reveal the best 11 as well this past week. And in terms of the best 11 for this year, we got Christian Kalina, Jordi Alba, Yeimar, Steven Moreira, Lucho Acosta, Evander, Riqui Puig, Christian Benteke, Denny Buwanga, Lucho Hernandez, and Lionel Messi being in the best 11. So the good news is, at least there wasn't like all Miami players in the best 11. Like that was one of the fear that I think people have with the best 11. It's going to be all Miami players, and especially I was kind of surprised Luis Suarez was not on this list, considering the number he has put in. Though it's kind of hard to argue that, considering that the guy that deserved to be in the number 9 spot has to be the guy that won the golden boot, and that of course is Christian Benteke. But overall, definitely an interesting best 11. I'm interested when it comes to this best 11, if they get to be in the in the Club World Cup and representing the MLS team as well. And if this is also going to be the team that plays in the MLS All Star, I'm interested to see how this team will do. I don't know if they'll do well. And in that, the defensive wise, I mean, it's they do have a good goalkeeper in Christian Kalina, and I guess maybe they're going free at the back here because the only defender I see here is Alba, Yamar, and Steven Moreira, and you could argue both Jordi Alba and Steven Moreira are more of an attacking minded defensive player, especially in the fullback position. And that basically leave Yamar as the only center back out there. So this is going to be a weird formation if this is of course the case. Especially it's probably going to be a weird 3-5-2 kind of formation that we might see. But again, in a league that is more attacking minded as MLS has been, not surprised that we see a lot of more attacking kind of player that has made it to the best 11. And there's no doubt this team can definitely score some goals, but this team can also give up a lot of goals if Christian Kalina just doesn't do what he has done all the time with Charlotte this past season. But there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of this week's News of the Week episode. As always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of these news, and if there's any news I didn't mention here on the board, let me know in the comments below as always. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.